It's Saturday. It's June 22nd, 2024. Yesterday, I was working at Stop and Shop and they had Employee Appreciation Day. Um, there was a photo taken with some of the employees that work at Stop and Shop in under the same roof in Bayside as myself in Bay Terrace. Um, Again, I'm inside the United States of America with an ONE, a Federal Reserve note, and an In God We Trust. Um, this is the monetary or the currency system. Um, and then there's, I was driving with Lewis this morning to a place called Home Depot. He has some things he wants to purchase for a project around the house, so I went to keep him company. Um, and there were quite a few observations as I went in, which I'm not going to speak on. Um, but the important part is as we were going, there were planes flying overhead. And I was thinking to myself quietly, in my quiet, about the idea of domestic security and this opening up of flight and just letting anyone travel, whether it be first, second, or third class, between the United States of America and elsewhere, and how that might diminish national security on the American side of things, or elsewhere, and who really handles those things, which I'm not privy to. Um, and then I was thinking about just how much I don't know. Like, I have so many questions, but just no answers. And of course, taking to heart Io mi io and the Sioux and the Jew, but really io in an Io mi io sense of whatever. Um, and then it dawns on me after the marriage to the crazy donkey, um, when he joined the ranks of the NYPD, um, there was a day where he brought home his whoever was in his FTU or his class or whatever. They were allowed to go meet the families of whoever they were going to be working with. And they pulled up to my parents' residence in the police car. They got out. They wanted me to sit in the front seat, um, as like a welcome, like a spouse's welcome to NYPD. Um, and I just remember one of the persons on that meet and greet of the families and spouses, the members of the NYPD new academy for that year. One of them mentioned that he was speaking to Jason, um, and asking about like the National Guard. Like, this person was part of something called a National Guard, and he received money every month from the National Guard. And I had never heard of it. And he said he was just speaking to Jason about it. But he wanted to know if I knew about it. And I said, no. I said, I don't know what that National Guard is. I never heard of it. Like, again, in the series of rooms that I was in, something called a National Guard was never presented, not as an option. No money, no stipend was offered. No group constructed to protect me and for me to have chain of command. Um, so that's concerning to not even know that that was an availability to somebody else. But again, he knew Jason went to school on Long Island, as did I. Um, and whatever his story was leading up to that, he was actually taught what a National Guard was, which I was not. Um, And I haven't thought about that. Like, it was one of those things that just washed over me. It didn't really have much significance in the moment. But in the year 2024, um, it just has all the more significance. But on the Federal Reserve note portion of it either, I wasn't brought up to speed or given a federal stipend either. So there was no national stipend, there was no federal stipend. And I'm thinking about all of the hardships that I've gone through where if there was that national money or that federal money, I would have been able to provide for my children and myself. And I wouldn't be stuck in this position that I'm in. I could have actually had my children. I could have stayed home with my children. I mean, I could have stayed in Virginia where I really wanted to be with my sons, and they would have had a very different life, as would I. I would have never met the blacksmith. Life would have been a lot better. But that wasn't available to me, that monetary differential that really made such a significant contribution. Like, it would have made such a significant contribution. Also, like, along with that stipend, I would imagine there would be some kind of intelligent conversation, some chain of command, some social hierarchy and construct. None of that was offered, none of that was built. And I'm just thinking of how different my decisions would have made if I would have had that freedom, to not only participate, but also freedom to move, freedom to ask questions and have answers of the, I guess you would say, government. Um, but instead, it's just been a lot of silence. And then, like, on the TV, when I think EO, me, EO, and an IO, semicolon, ME, semicolon, IO, I'm listening to the television now, and they're saying that, like, there's the Middle East talks, and then there's the Mid East talks, the MID. And in an ONE, a GOD, the MID, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I don't know who prepares the banners in the news media company that they display on the television while I'm in this. Um, but sometimes I listen to them and I'm lost in translation, knowing that there is an MID somewhere, um, and knowing that I'm in a system that has an ONE, and a GOD, and it's in this trust. So along with the WE and the IN, so I am just, um, I just don't know where to go. I don't. Um, my decisions would have been very different had I had that freedom of that monthly National Guard stipend like that other gentleman had, along with the training, the camaraderie, the freedom. Like, that's like real freedom. Um, I wouldn't have had to whatever and the whatever. But um, for some reason, that was not offered. That was not available. I don't know why. I don't know if that's changing of the guards, changing of the season. I don't know if that's part of some of the problems that I'm encountering at this moment in New York. But it's been an ongoing problem. And I'm looking towards the future and I'm very concerned. Um, because there is no savings to lean back on. Personally, I'm making $16 an hour. I have this health care that they provide, but it doesn't provide restorative care. It just provides a whole bunch of study for whatever is here in calling itself a medical profession. So you feel more of like a lab rat than without any restorative health benefits than anything. I mean, at least that's the way I feel at the moment, especially with my health in a degenerative state while I'm trying to regenerate and live a healthy life. It's very difficult. Um, but that conversation with that new NYPD back in early 2000s, cadet then, officer now, just over the last few days has really been replaying in my mind and thinking to myself, like, why wasn't I offered a monthly income like that to supplement whatever my daily activities were? And how did they choose those persons? It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken.